we are as a people, inherently and historically, opposed to secret societies, opposed to secret oaths, opposed to secret proceedings. No official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know.
All right. Welcome back to Conspiracy Corner Podcast, everyone. It's 3:45 p.m. July 2nd. I still cannot sleep, so I figured there's plenty that I still want to talk about. And I apologize for the last episode if I seemed a little down, a little negative. I wanted to show you guys that I'm going through shit. Just like you guys. I'm a normal human being. And I just wanted to vent a little bit. But I did end the episode positively. So I hope you guys actually, watched the full episode. So, as far as the update, I'm off today, I'm off tomorrow, and I'm off 4th of July. So, no matter what, I'm going to go watch some fireworks somewhere. Whether it be in a park, somewhere. I'm watching me some fucking fireworks. And life sucks a little bit right now, but I'm gonna enjoy it, you know. Maybe I needed these three days off. Maybe this was meant to be. So, let's see. This heat is so fucking hot. I actually did a video on this. I'm gonna hook this motherfucker up. I bought this last year, actually. I had one in my old house, and then I bought this last year, and I'm going to rehook it up, and hopefully it works. Because my first one broke. And it was one of those weird things, is I used it for a whole year, and then I put it back in its box during winter, and then took it back out to use it again, and it just didn't work. I had the same thing happen with the GameCube. I just plugged it in after not using it for years, and then it was just decided nah, I'm not gonna work. So I'm very sketched out and scared to unplug something for so long and then plug it back in, because I'm afraid that it's just not gonna work. And I guarantee you, dude, the last Heatwave that we had, it's gonna be the exact same way. It's gonna those things are gonna sell out. They're probably already sold out with the Heatwave we got going on. So we're going to talk about the heat wave, and we're going to talk about, we already talked, go check out the episode that I put out earlier today. We're going to talk about these earthquakes and this heat wave, because I don't think people realize, yeah, I'm bitching that it's hot. I don't think people realize what damage it has caused to different countries that aren't America. I thank God every day, dude, that I was born and raised in America, man. What this is, and I'm sorry, I know I got listeners from all over the different countries, all over the world. This is the last bastion of freedom. This is the last bastion of hope. This is the greatest country in the world. I love my nation, but I hate my government. I'll leave it at that. So, that being said, let's get into, since we've been talking so much about the heat wave, let's get into the heat wave. Let me plug my stuff real quick. I have a Buy Me a Coffee account set up in the link below. If you donate to the channel, I will send you a bumper sticker. These things are durable as fuck. My wife has one on a coffee mug. I have one on my old car. It's been rained on, snowed on, sun beaming down on it. It holds up. My wife's coffee mug has been washed 1,000 times. That thing still holds up. And you'll also get a signed Conspiracy Corner podcast bookmark. I'll sign the back of it. Unless you don't want me to, you can message through Buy Me a Coffee. They have a messaging option. Let's get on with the show. So, last episode, I ended it on a really good note, I believe, and I tried to give you guys some form of positivity, some light within the darkness. By the way, I said light bearer, and I'm like, oh my god, here we go. Someone's gonna fucking be like, he's calling himself Lucifer, you know. It's like, dude, okay, whatever. I'm not even gonna get into it. You know, here I am trying to be positive, but within our community, someone's gonna say something smart. This heat wave. Europe's heat wave linked to 1,300 deaths, WHO says, as Germany hits record 41.7 Celsius. I'm an American. We use Fahrenheit over here. I'm not sure how hot that is, but it's super hot. So, I've been keeping up with the earthquakes and the heat wave. Obviously, because we're getting the heat wave here. Midwest is getting heat wave. I texted my brother. He never messaged me back, but he lives in Tennessee. I'm curious how hot it is there. Like, it's like up in the 90s and shit here. I'm praying to God that the fucking AC unit does not die. Because it died last year. And it fucking sucked. And my luck has been horrible, obviously, here lately. It's like, dude, I can't take no more. So here's the thing about Europe. Germany, France, it's kicking France's ass. It's kicking Germany's ass right now. Europe in general has bought into the whole climate change thing and the whole gun control thing. These super progressive cultural Marxist ideas. As far as like, give up your guns, give up your freedoms. It's to save the planet. You don't want your kids to get killed. Even though we all know that these school shootings and shit are sketchy as fuck. When you actually start looking into them. Apparently it's like pretty much illegal in different nations in Europe to even have an AC. You have to get approval by the fucking government to have an AC unit. And then when you get it installed, they can take it away whenever the fuck they want for climate crisis reasons. And this all ties in with the Great Reset. It ties in with, basically, population control. It's a nice way for saying, in their terms, the devil's tongue, there's too many of you. There's too many of you, goy. We want you dead. So, 1,300 deaths already in Germany. And this is just Germany. I'm only going to report on one European country with this heat wave because I don't want to keep talking about it. But it's hitting France's ass too. So let's just hear about Germany. Europe's unprecedented early summer heat wave may be responsible for hundreds of excess deaths, according to the head of the World Health Organization. By the way, they are untrustworthy as fuck. Temperature records were broken across the continent again on Sunday, including in Germany, Poland, and Czech Republic. I have a friend who's Czechoslovakian. Mirror D80s, I believe he's Czechoslovakian. Go check out our 2 interviews we did together. It's in the Mirror D80s playlist. If you're listening on Spotify, I'll link one of them below. Go check his channel out. Give him a sub. Shout outs, man. As the extreme heat continued to move east. Hell, since I got Zoom, I might see if he wants to do another interview since it's hitting close to home with, he's got family in Czechoslovakia. I need to fucking, okay, I might schedule that. I'm off for the next 2 days. I might see if I could do an interview with him again. You guys seem to have liked the first 2 we've done together. He lives in Australia, but he is Czechoslovakia, and he's got family over there. So, yeah, I'm going to see if he wants to do another interview. In a post on X, WHO chief Tedros Adhanom, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. Adhanom, though, that sounds like some sort of demon that you would hear from like a Goetia or like some Solomonic black magic book, you know? It's like Necronomicon shit. Tedros Adhanom Ete Etfili so mote it be. Said more than 1,300, and by the way, he's the chief of WHO apparently, so you already know he's Illuminati as fuck. Illuminati, secret societies do exist. 1,300 excess deaths have been recorded since June 21st, linked to high temperatures in Europe. Heat stress is often called the silent killer, quote unquote, and European homes, workplaces, and schools were not built for these temperatures. And they don't have proper AC units, because it's like halfway illegal to even have AC in a bunch of these European countries. I was literally watching a video on it earlier today. So, another thing too. Someone compared the whole climate change shit with all these European countries compared to China, which is putting out all this climate change pollution that would cause global warming. China is like this. All these European countries like Germany, France, they're all like beep, 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 beep. So they are literally, all these European countries are literally killing themselves by not having AC units and overheating and literally dying from heat stroke. The elderly are dying if it's too hot. Dehydration. They're literally killing themselves when China is like this as far as pollution. China, did you know in China they all got like AC units and shit? And by the way, we said it here recently, I think like 2 episodes ago. Yeah, it was 2 episodes ago. We were talking about Jeff Bezos saying that we don't deserve water. Human beings don't need water. AI is more important because AI will figure out how to get water. We need to let AI consume all the water, and then it'll figure out how to get us more. This is all population control. But the point that I was going to make, and I said it before several times, and I'll say it again in case you haven't, in case you're not a long-time listener, I will be a broken record. These data centers are heating up the earth. It has literally been proven. Even mainstream media, which is sketchy and Illuminati as fuck, is even making reports that people who are living next to these data centers, it's raising the temperature in the neighborhoods next to these data centers like 20 fucking degrees. So on a day that it should be 70, it's now 90 degrees in that neighborhood that is located right next to these data centers. And even the people who own the data centers are like, yeah, it's heating up the earth. These things are super hot. That's why we need water. That's why every 3 questions that you ask an AI, it consumes 2 bottles of water. These things are hot as fuck. Look, man, I think that there's a lot of propaganda that China's the bad guy. I don't think they're the good guy either, though. But they were at least smart enough to put their data centers under the ocean, so that way it's not consuming their fresh water, and it's also not heating up the actual land because it's supposedly built at the very bottom of the ocean. I'm not a rocket scientist, but it makes sense to me. I mean, I'm not a Chinese communist either or some spy, but makes sense to me if it's fucking true. And I mean, this is Conspiracy Corner Podcast, and I'm putting 1 + 1 = 2. I think that this has something to do with probably the heat waves. Also, here's another thing. We all know they can control the weather. What was it? Operation Popeye. I think it was under JFK's administration, which JFK is my favorite president, but even he was sketchy as fuck with certain things. I mean, you guys heard the intro. That's literally one of JFK's speeches. Operation Popeye, we need to do a whole episode on it. Hang on, I'm going to write it down. Sad thing is, this podcast has been around for 6 years, and I remember literally like 5 years ago saying, I need to do an episode on Operation Popeye. I still haven't got around to it. Dude, this notebook's full as fuck with notes of like episodes I need to do. And half of these are written on fucking napkins and shit. I'm a crazy person. I do eventually get around to them, some of them. That's why, like, on weekends, on days off, I'm a weekend warrior. I just bang a bunch out. I'm a maniac. So there's a scene in Forrest Gump. By the way, that movie is, like, occult as fuck. You know, the whole Baphomet part. There's Mandela effects in it. But there is so much revelation of the method, lesser magic, that is put into that movie. Predictive programming, whatever. All three of those terms mean the same thing. Whatever you believe. There is so much of that shit in that movie. But there's a scene where he's in Vietnam and he's talking about the rain. Well, one day the rain come down and it was real big drops, you know. I can't do Forrest Gump. You know, I'm a Southern gentleman, but I can do Jenny. Hang on. Now I gotta hang on. Let me recoup. I'm gonna try to do Forrest Gump. Well, I'm not a smart man, Jenny, but I do know what love is. That's the only line that I'm pretty good at. But there's this scene where he's like, yeah, we was walking through the woods in Vietnam, and the rain come down sideways sometimes. Sometimes it came up from the ground. Sometimes it came down in these huge big drops. You know, like he's talking about all the different styles of rain. And they show it like a little clips here and there. Well, in that scene, they show like several clips of like different styles of rain. They're hinting and telling you, hey, this is when we were practicing with Operation Popeye of weather control. I seen a clip the other day, dude. Yesterday on Simp Saver Sam. It was either his YouTube channel or his twin brother. I forget his name, God forgive me, but if you can find one of the twin brothers, you can find the other one. Man, I gotta take a fucking ibuprofen, man. My head is banging where I've been in this heat. They showed this lady was filming a video. She found a book at a yard sale, and it was written in 1958. It was a kid's book on aeronautics. And one of the pages is literally talking about cloud seeding in 1958. So, you guys know me. Hang on. I'm an old school conspiracy theorist. And this is ibuprofen, by the way. I'm not some fucking druggie. I'm gonna take 2. I'm an old school conspiracy theorist. One of my first conspiracies that I was really getting into in 2010 and even younger, man, cuz my dad was a conspiracy theorist. I kind of grew up in a conspiracy family. I was kind of born purple pilled, halfway awake, you know? Swallowing the pill, sorry. I remember my dad telling me about chemtrails as a kid. I remember getting really big into it when I first kind of woke up in 2010. HARP. we all knew as conspiracy theorists, old school conspiracy theorists, OGs like myself, we all knew that they can control the weather since 2010 and even like back in the 90s and shit. I mean, Art Bell era, William Cooper era. We all knew that they could cloud seed and control the weather. To think that they can't make shit hot, you know, and these data centers aren't helping. And I'm not, we did a whole episode on Bill, wow, Microsoft, dude. Bill Gates. Bill Gates wanting to block out the sun. I'm not saying he's a good guy, obviously. I have a whole playlist on Bill Gates on how evil and what a scumbag this guy is, but maybe this is why he wanted to block out the sun to cool the earth down, because it's like, not saying he's doing the right thing, but dude, if it is this fucking hot with these data centers and weather control, and it's so crazy too, because like, I mean, this podcast has been around for 6 years, 6 or 7 years. Last winter, dude, we had like this horrible ice storm, and I think I reported on it once or twice about how bad the ice storm was. Or that might have been while I was on my hiatus, because I do take a hiatus every now and then. I'll take like a couple months off, just because I get burnt out. But you guys remember this shit. Last year was like one of the worst winter storms we had in Kentucky, like for like decades, you know. And now it's like one of the hottest summers. Like, it's record breaking. So it's like fire and ice. Like, it's two extremes. It's not. Here's the thing. I'm born and raised in Florida. So earlier today, I was working on the car and just pouring sweat. And all I was doing was taking a license plate, or the temporary tag off, and screwing in a license plate and trying to pop the hood to my car. And I mean, it was probably 15, 20 minutes top that me and Sammy were out there. And I was drenched in sweat. Like, well, go check out the last episode. It looked like my hair was soaking wet. I was just pouring sweat. That's how hot and humid it was. And I mean, I was born and raised in that shit down in Florida. But I've lived half my life there, and I've lived half my life here. So 15 in Florida, 16 here. So at this point, I've lived here longer than Florida, but I still feel like while I was out there sweating, I was like, oh, this is normal. It feels like Florida. But I have to ask my wife sometimes, like, is this normal? Because I don't fucking know, man. Anyways, you all see what I'm trying to say, man. Heat stress is often called the silent killer. Okay. On Sunday morning, France's National Health Ministry said there had been around 1,000 more deaths than expected in the country since Wednesday. So they were already expecting deaths. This shows you how psycho and dystopian Europe is. That they're already like, oh yeah, it's normal that people die because we don't have AC, because we're trying to save the planet, because of climate change. But they were already like, yeah, this is 1,000 more deaths than we expected, so this is abnormal, but we were already expecting people to die. That's normal. Like, they die for for inverted Gaia worship. I mean, they're good little goy. They follow the rules in Europe, you know. And this isn't me making fun of you if you're European. It's just, it is what it is, man. They're going to have to take my AC unit from my cold, dead fingers, you know. Oh, wait, we have firearms over here. Pop, motherfucker. This is America. We don't give up our firearms. You know, we're pretty cool with our constitutional rights over here, you know. At least I am. So France has already had 1,000 more deaths than they were expecting since Wednesday. So yesterday, because it's Thursday now, many of the extra fatalities are among those aged 65 and over, so killing off the old. The agency said after logging a 40% rise in the number of people dying at home. 40% rise of people dying at home because it's too fucking hot. I am very curious how many data centers are going up in Germany and France. I'm not saying that is the complete reason for this heat wave shit, because I just explained, I think it's multiple things. I think it's these data centers. I think it's the elites trying to cull the herd by not letting them have AC units and freedoms. I think it's that. I think it's the data centers, and I think it's weather control. Call me cuckoo. I'm wearing my tinfoil hat, man. Call me crazy. I think it's all three of those things. Europe is the fastest warming continent on Earth, heating at twice the global average. So 2 times the global normal average. By the way, I was reading or watching a video. This is the hottest summer in France on record ever. And I'm feeling it here in Kentucky. By the way, I've got AC on. And I've got 2 fans going. And, well, actually, this right here is supposed to be temperature. That motherfucker's not even working. I don't know if it's because it's so fucking hot in here. By the way, I've been recording this whole episode with this fan on over here. I hope the audio turns out okay. I swear to God, if I have to redo this whole entire episode and redo that spiel I just did, I'm going to be pissed. I didn't think to turn it off. So millions of people across the continent are currently... By the way, that's another thing too. Let me turn this off real quick. Probably too late now, man. The whole fucking episode's pretty much over by now. Because I usually try to keep them short and sweet, 30 minutes. Because people don't have good attention spans. I ain't gonna lie, dude. Since podcasting, where it is so hot in this tin can of a trailer, there's times I just want to take my shirt off and just podcast without my shirt. But I'm like, no, you can't do that. People will think that's trashy. People will make fun of you. People will be like, how am I supposed to listen to somebody who's drinking a beer with his shirt off and he's missing teeth and sounds like a hillbilly? You know, you're uneducated. You know, I don't need to hear all that. But there's times, man, I'm like, man, it's fucking hot. Especially when you get to talking and ranting, you know. I don't know if anyone has ever done public speaking, whoever's listening, you know, hit me up in the comments. But so Europe is the fastest warming continent on Earth. Millions of people across the continent are currently living under extreme heat. Hundreds have died. Schools are shut down. Grids are buckling, meaning they're going to have blackouts. So even if they have AC units and fans, their grid is getting overheated. And it's probably, too, another thing, too, man. If they have data centers, that's using up a shit ton of energy with the grid. And also, everyone's going to be... They don't have AC, so everyone's going to be running fucking fans right now. Meaning tons of electricity. On Sunday, Germany experienced its hottest day ever for the 3rd consecutive day after 41.7 degrees Celsius was recorded in the east of the country. Preliminary data showed. I don't know, you all. I know, I'm a climate denier. I'm gonna have some blue-pilled fucking sheeple up in here who's been vaccinated like They're on their like 9th booster. And they're going to say, do you believe in climate change now? No. No, I don't. I mean, I believe the climate does change, but naturally, in God's order, Mother Earth's order. Let me know what you all think. I think we need to say a little prayer, cast a little spell, do your little magic fingers for France and Germany and Europe in general. Bunch of people dying over there. And I'm feeling it here in Kentucky, heat waves. And let me know in the comments if you live here in the U.S. and how hot it is wherever the fuck you live, man. You do that voodoo that you do so well. Love y'all. Y'all have a good day.